Yes, everyone, and welcome back to the Irish Hotspur. We're Ireland's #1 Spurs fan, Big Boy Dave right here, and today is a big one as we welcome Manchester United to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, but of course, being the first home game of the season, that is absolutely exciting. And today, like I said on the predicting lineup, we're about to embark on the Lord's work. Of course, everyone wants us to beat Man United after the dodge. That we are actually going to turn the Red Devils into Jesus Christ. We're going to turn wine back to water with the pure. Let's welcome in some guests. Of course, Jacko will be with us in just a little while, just returning, getting everything back set up after his holiday. But Philip, my man, how are you keeping? You ready to do the Lord's work today?
Jeez, I thought I was watching a football match, not a prayer service. You sound like an evangelist there in the corner. Yeah, I must say, I normally look for United games always with a bit of trepidation, but today I'm looking forward to this one because I think we're going to do business against them. Really are.
Yeah, look, it's going to be an interesting one, all right. It's, many people are excited after what we've seen against Brentford. I think the question today is, can we implement our style on a bigger team? But we will get into that. But Paul, how are you keeping? You've whipped out that lovely jersey for me, and you've gone an extra mile and put on that gorgeous hat, my man. How are you keeping? You ready for today?
Oh, I've got to be in keeping, man. Oh, I'm buzzing, man. I can't wait for this. I can't wait for after the game to see Man United fans all over the world zipping up their coats out of shame to hide that red top of theirs. I think we're going to nail them, man, and we're going to do them.
Absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. Well, as you can see on the panel, the optimism is high heading into today's game. Let's see what the chat is like today. Let's see if they're feeling the vibes. And by the way, I do apologize for being late. I was just currently enjoying and absolutely mesmerizing over the under-21 football that is currently on display. Of course, we are beating Newcastle 2-0 with goals from Santiago and Sun Suk Bell. We're absolutely destroying Newcastle. So it's absolutely brilliant start to the Premier League 2 for the under-21s. Of course, smashing Man City last week, putting 5 by them, and then, of course, beating Newcastle today. So, very exciting times, and I can tell you, Alfie Dorrington and Ashley Phillips look absolutely phenomenal back there in terms of on the ball, playing out from the back. Harvey White is getting on the ball, switching play lovely. Alfie Devine, Jamie Donnelly are absolutely ripping it up, creating chances. So, it is a bloody good watch. We have Dan, the Spurs fan. He's gone Spurs 3-0. Come on, you Spurs. I love that. Ellie's in the building. She's on fire. Quick, someone get the emergency services round. She says, for this match, as you know, Dave, I'm bringing the ultimate passion, just like you, lad. Big up, Ellie. Big up. You're probably more passionate than me, I'd say. Big up, Kate, as well. Hopefully you're keeping well, and hopefully your mum is doing very well as well. Good to see you in the building. Stevie D, my man. He says it's about building a better team. If Harry stayed, we'd finish 8th. Ange making a point that the collective needs to improve, and 30 goals from a player without improving would yield same result. Look, I actually, I don't know whether these two guys watched the press conference or read what was said, but some of the stuff he said, it gave me a right knock on. I pulled out 1 or 2 quotes that we will talk about, but my God, I was hooked on every word this guy said. It's like a magic spell. It's unbelievable. Big up Kuva99. He says, last 3 to 4 years have been awful. I'm super, super buzzing for this game. And what Big Ange brings to football, going for a 4-3 win and a thriller. Michael Jackson will be proud, Kuva. You're keeping on his memory there with the thriller. But look, hopefully we can win. It's all about winning as much as I'm here for vibes. I want to win games of football. And Ange said that yesterday in his press conference. He was asked about entertaining at home. Is that his plan? He said, look, we're not a circus. We want to win games. That one nearly knocked me out. When I was already high off what he said. That one nearly set me over the edge. It was absolutely unreal. Who else have we got here? Make sure we're not missing anyone. Where are we? We have Peter Ange in the building. Big up. He says, I'm also watching the under-21s. It's a great watch, Peter. It's a great watch, my man. Big yourself up, brother. We have Dark Sun G. Dark Sun G, big yourself up. I know you're missing Jacko. He will be with us. And he says, come on, you Spurs. We will beat Man United and Son, Madison, and Adoji to score. Do you know what, Dark Sun G? You were right a few times last year on some of your predicted goal scorers. Hopefully it comes to fruition today. We need a big game from Son Aldo today. Look, I get it. He's coming back from surgery. He doesn't have as much preseason in behind him as maybe some of the other lads. But we need a massive one from him today. I'm actually predicting him to grab us a brace today. So big up, Dark Sun G. look at Doji, I wouldn't write him off. He's capable of scoring. And give Madison a free kick. I would absolutely love him to see him bury one in. That would make my day, my man. Big yourself up, Dark Sung G. We've got Level Earth, Kane goal and assist for Bayern last night. I'll be honest, I couldn't bring myself to watch it. And quite frankly, I do not care how he gets on at Bayern now. I really couldn't give a crap. I'm all focused on what we do here. Big up, my man. We have Paul Connor. Big up, Paul. Hopefully you're keeping well, sir. Says, can anyone see a cricket score today with loads of goals at each end? Look, what I will say is both teams look fairly toothless in the opening game. So, maybe we might not see the cricket score everyone's expecting to see. Let's wait and see how it pans out. But these big games are usually decided by a goal or two. One thing I do know, if we keep a clean sheet, we win today's game for sure. Iceman says, so game day is here. Big Ange, we trust. Let's turn these Red Devils into crying little angels. Pump for today's game. Come on, you Spurs. Big up, Dave and Jack, and all you Spurs-aholics in the chat. Let's effing go. Big up, Iceman. Absolutely pumped, my man. Great to see you. Sugar Pebble says, I think it'll be 2-1 for Spurs unless Sonny and Kulu manage to find a way to adapt Ange's system. Then we'll score maybe one more. Look, I think we'll get in and talk. It'll be a big talking point heading into today's game, whether Ange mix it up or not. But big up, Sugar Pebbles. Great to see you. We'll take a few more and then we'll crack on and get into it. We have Spurs GCTV, early days, so we need to be realistic, but hope we smash them. Come on, you Spurs. 100%. It is early days. You're absolutely correct. Absolutely correct, my man. We have Rick in Rio. Big up, my man. Huge Richarlison and Emerson fan. Let me know who's your favorite. New YouTube member. Well, welcome to the Irish Hotspur community. As members will vouch for me in the chat, we have been pumping out members-only content for you guys just to give you a bit more extra bang for your buck. So hopefully you've been enjoying them, and anyone else that wants to get in on it, Fantasy Football League, there's quiz nights coming for all you guys, etc. Feel free to grab one of them channel memberships. But Rick and Rio, great to have you on board the community, sir. Big up, my man. Scooter Reacts says, morning chats, big up all. Come on, you Spurs. Absolutely love it. Davey Haas says, big up the whole crew. Just hope we don't get battered. Yeah, look, it could happen. But, I prefer to be optimistic, to be honest with you. And then if we get battered, I'll deal with it. I'll be angry, but I'll try and deal with it. Ball being counter, big yourself up, sir. Says, have a good feeling about today. Come on, you Spurs. Love that. Stinging nettle. Hi, Dave. Let's get United a bloody good hiding today. Hopefully we can sting them like nettles, my man. Big yourself up. Then we have Moondog in the building, and he says, good afternoon. Let's get the win. Come on, you Spurs. Big up, Moondog. Hopefully you're keeping well, sir. Hopefully you're pumped. I know you like a little sneaky father bet on match days. Let me know who you've got, what bet you've gone with today. But big up, Moondog. But look, I'm going to give everybody match details, and then I'm going to crack on, and we'll keep bringing up comments. So, of course, today, 1 second. Sorry, Moondog. You're dominating the page here today. Give me 1 second. So, as you can see, we are playing at home at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. First home game of the season. Super exciting. Kickoff is at 5:30 p.m. Referee is Michael Oliver. Make sure you take these names down because we've seen what happened last week for United. Don't want to repeat, so make sure you get these names down. And in the VAR room, Craig Pawson. If you want to watch the match in the UK and Ireland, of course, it's on Sky Sports. In the USA, it is on NBC Sports. And in Australia, it is on Optus. And we'll go through some injury news for you as well. Of course, Tottenham out with the Bentancur out with the ACL. Seth Young out with his hamstring. Shot always out with that. And Brian Hill out with the back. Of course, Christian Romero given the go-ahead for today. Absolutely crucial. For Man United, Hoyland out with his back. Martinez was a bit of a doubt today. It'd be interesting to see whether he lines up or not. And Malashi is out from the preseason tour with an unknown injury. Then there's a few other people that no one knows, so I didn't bother including them. So that is all your match details for today. But look, we'll get into it. We'll start bringing in the boys here, and let's get them get their say. They're absolutely eager. And look, we'll start with you on this one, Paul. First home game of the season. Are you excited? And what do you think the atmosphere will be like today? As look, there is protest organised from the Supporters Trust against rising ticket prices. Me personally, I think people will go there, make the voice and their displeasure known about the rising ticket prices and pricing people out of the game. But I do think they'll be able to separate that. And once they hit the ground, I think they're going to get behind the team. But what's your thoughts? Are you excited about today's game? And what do you think the atmosphere will be like?
I think the fans will sort it all out. I think they'll be up for the team and welcoming Ange. And I'm very excited, man. I think it might be a bit more of an open affair than last week where Brentford parked the bus. So I'm hoping that maybe Son and Kulu have a little bit more space, and I'm looking forward to Casemiro having rings to run around him by our midfielders, and I don't know what the score will be, man, but I'm just, it's almost like a dream come true for me to see Ange walking out with his team at White Hart Lane today, and I love what he said in the conference about, what was it like to have the crowd singing your name, and he kind of said, well, I haven't earned it yet. It's nice.
Oh, I loved it.
Amazing, eh? So yeah, I'm. Look, I think it's going to be an entertaining game. I think we're going to win, but football's funny, and if we don't, we don't. I'm just, we're going in the right direction at the moment.
For sure. I want to follow up on that. Just give me 1 second. Big up Shawnee, big up Jim, big up Jerry, and also big up Piccolo9. Absolutely love that. And also NA, let's get in. Wedding stop Postacoglu. Come on, you Spurs. But, first of all, there's a big TIFO organised in the South Stand welcoming Ange Postacoglu to Tottenham Hotspur Stadium today. That is going to be a sight.
Wow.
But Paul, that quote's about I need to earn it. I like it, but I don't want it yet, and I need to earn it. I mean, that's not something we've heard really any manager sort of say at Tottenham Hotspur, right?
Oh, a million miles from it, isn't it, man? Like we've had managers that were doing us a favour, and I mean, the crowd did warm to them to a certain extent, but I don't know. I think we're going to see the birth of something special at White Hart Lane today. Hey, Jack, long time no see, man. Good to see you.
Hi, Jack.
I think good to see you, Paul. Good to see Mr. Brady. Good to be back. I think when I returned from kind of not having such great Wi-Fi, I now came home and maybe downloaded one too many Emerson compilation videos, and maybe it just crashed the whole system and crashed the whole party. But good to be back, and Man United, and we're actually going to try to dominate Man United for once, which is going to be a crazy thing, something I'm still going to have to get used to, which I kind of said today in a video. Big up to you guys.
I love it. Love it. Well, welcome back, Jacko. We're delighted to have you back. I am for sure. Anyway, it's been a headache without you all week, my man, but it's great to have you back. But look, we'll come back to you in a second, Jacko. Philip, my man, Mr. Brady. The away support last week was absolutely incredible, singing from start to finish, from well before the first whistle and well after the final whistle. How important will it be to create that atmosphere today, especially with the magnitude of the opponent? First home game of the season, new era, new leadership, new captain. And how important of a role does fans actually have to play this season?
Huge. Like, I was at the Shakhtar friendly there a couple of weeks ago, and you're thinking a friendly match, it'd all be fairly low key and whatever. I tell you, some of the noise coming out of that South Stand made my spine tingle.
Yeah.
During that game, the noise was phenomenal. I think the Shakhtar players were looking up and said, Jesus, what have we got here? This is like the ultra teams in Germany and Italy, the noise that was coming out of the ground. So the fans have got a huge part to play. And they got a good practice 2 weeks ago, 56,000 people for a friendly. So they will be a big part to play all season, starting today. And that tifo for Ange at the start, that's going to be mind-blowing when we see that. If that doesn't inspire the team to come out and do something, I don't know what will. But yeah, the crowd is so important, And I suppose the United will have a fair old following there today, so they'll have a part to play as well. They'll not be quiet, But the good thing about United, if they lose tonight, most of their fans only have about 10 miles to go home, which isn't too bad.
That's true. Half of them live in London, don't they?
Yeah,
Hopefully, it would be nice to see the Sky cameras pan over to the away section and see it empty nice and early. See the litter pickers in there after the game, or the people that clean up the stands in there, cleaning them up before the final whistle. Let them get home early. That'd be nice. But
the rest of the Man United fans live here.
That's a long way home.
Well, they're all going to convert now that Ange is Tottenham manager. They're all going to get behind the mighty Ange, Paul. But Philip, I want to ask you, with Dark Sun G here, he says Ange, based on his press conference, is exactly what we need. Did you get a chance to watch the press conference? I
haven't seen it all, but what I've seen of it, like I'm comparing it back to Conte's press conferences last year, right? You'll be able to translate a Shakespearean play quicker than some of the stuff he was coming out with. You know, there was double meanings. There was everything. You take your own meanings from Ange, straight down the middle. Absolutely says it as he finds it. Straight talking Aussie. Paul, you know yourself what they're like. So, you know, I think it's absolutely brilliant what he's saying, and it's given us all a lift. Like we used to come and watch Conte's press conference and be scratching our heads for a week afterwards. Now we know exactly what's coming, you know. And by the way, the under-21s just scored a fourth against Newcastle. So,
who scored? Who scored?
I don't know who scored now. I'm just waiting to see if it's come up.
People, if you could graciously update me in the chat who got the third and fourth goal, that'd be absolutely brilliant. But Philip, I just want to stick with you before we get Jacko in. I'm going to give you a quote from Postecoglou's press conference. He says, this is Postecoglou on if the new striker is a priority. And it probably shows us what direction we're going to be taking from now on. And Postecoglou responded, not necessarily. I know that's the obvious place people look at because of recent outgoings. But we've been planning that for a while. There's still areas we can strengthen in all our lines, defensively, midfield, up front. Again, that's not just bringing players in for the sake of it. They have to fit the profile we're looking at. We're purposely gone a bit younger because we want to build a team here. It's not about putting the finishing touches on something. We're rebuilding something here. So that's the mind of profiles we're looking at. Now, for me, I get a lot of Pochettino vibes off that. And what I mean by that is as well, the team that began on the opening weekend of last season this season had an average age of 25 years and 65 days. Whereas last season's starting lineup had an average of 27 years and 356 days. So almost 3 years in the difference. And it's been something that Paratici has been proactive about opting to sign younger players. So someone like me who says, look, I'd rather sign a Vlahovic and Abraham, someone that's going to guarantee us goals. Now we know the direction. Is this something we have to get on board with? And do you think what Postecoglou is saying here is more based off the data analysis-driven scouting that Daniel Levy was supposed to meet with betting companies at the end of last season to put together?
Yeah, I think so. We're obviously building a younger squad for the future here. I mean, you see us looking for the like of Gift Urban, who's 22, 23 years of age. That's the kind of profile that we're looking for. Now, you know, we're never going to replace Harry Kane. We're never going to put in a 30-goal season man. It just doesn't happen that way. What we need to do is get in a striker who can score goals, complemented by goals from elsewhere on the pitch. And I think that's where Madison can come into it a lot as well. So I think we're now looking at the computer to work out how good it is for Tottenham than maybe the previous way of doing it, which is maybe, I don't know how they did it. They wouldn't have had the analytical stuff available to them that they have now. So it's all got very technical, though, really think about it, you know. Yeah. But I just think that we will get new players in, but obviously the fact that we haven't got one in yet could be with one or two reasons. One, Levy is unable to or unwilling to pay the asking price, which he reckons is above the value, which is fair enough. That's good business. And the Urban, especially, his price seems to have jumped up since Tottenham came calling, which is because they know we have the Harry Kane money. So I'd be happy now if we got another striker in and maybe another centre back. I still think we need another centre back. And if we got that, I'd class that as a very good window.
Interesting. And Jacko, I mean, look, we've been on the Paratici hype train for some time, and you know we've constantly highlighted the fact that he's purposely trying to lower the average age of the squad. Combined with what Postecoglou says there, does it give you sort of the journey of where we were at, sort of in the beginning under Pochettino, right? Pochettino came in, he had to use some of the older players that were there halfway during the season. He cleared a lot out, brought in some youth, but also signed younger players. Is there a chance Ange Postecoglou is on the start of this and he can build something like that, and we could be on the start of something magical here?
I think absolutely, but it would be kind of sort of typical Spurs to think that they couldn't make Paratici and Conte work, but in fact it's actually going to be Paratici and some random Celtic manager that's kind of on this big sort of come up rise to work with him. I think that's what's actually quite spectacular. Is the original sort of thought would be that Paratici was made for Conte and probably not made for really much else, but Paratici this whole time has actually been making Ange Postecoglou signings, what is probably what you would say, and has been making signings that Postecoglou probably thought were maybe attractive at the time, maybe part of the reason he maybe wanted the job in the first place, because he did see kind of all these younger players that weren't really being used properly by Conte or weren't really being given a chance. And he also saw that even behind the scenes, like you've brought up before, Dave, kind of behind the curtain with the youth academy, all the kind of the big sort of talented players that are now being brought in. Of course, kind of in the past, we had more of an emphasis on maybe, emphasizing hunger, not really incentivizing players as much with kind of wages and kind of cash bonuses. But now we're kind of going towards this route of bringing in the most talented, but also the players that maybe are looking for a bit higher wages in those academies. And now we're seeing some of the benefits of it. And perhaps Postecoglou sees it a similar way, or he just wants to be working with an academy that's really talented, that in any case he needs it, he could pick out a real gem, and he just knows he's going to be able to fit the system. Even from the glimpses of you watching the game, Dave, I mean, it looked like it was our miniature version of an Ange team, basically, the way they were playing it and the way they were kind of stringing it around. So it feels like any of those kids would sort of kind of just you could just put them right into the system. So I don't know, Dave, it's actually almost makes sense for Spurs to, bring in Paratici, have him go to jail. And then this whole time, his whole signings have actually been made for Ange Postecoglou, a manager that we didn't even know of or really, think was going to be coming to Spurs this whole time. That makes perfect sense for Spurs.
Yeah, look, I think there's the bones of something great we can build here. Of course, you've got the under 16s and under 17s cup winners. You've got the under 21 starting off with a strong start to the season, but also how strong that starting lineup for the under 21s looked, and there's still more to come into that as well. Then you look at the senior team. I think we'll all agree we've got some great players in that team that can be around here for a few years to come. You've got a manager who, he's committed. He knows the task of what he needs to do. It just now falls on, and we've kept Paratici in an advisory consultancy role, and we had a discussion about this Thursday night. I'm not going to go into it again, but I don't think Tottenham are going to bring in a DOF. I think they're going to continue to keep Paratici in the advisory sort of role and continue to build everything in his vision, because if you change DOF, change your vision, change your staff, and you're changing absolutely everything all over again, it just now requires the owners to really follow this through with some gusto, clear out the deadwood, and let's make this club going forward. We've 13 days left. Let's see what happens. Jack, I want to stick with you for one moment. I just want to big up where are we? Sorry, which want to big up P-Dubs. Welcome in, my man. Also, Jazzy Jones. Manx can take Coronation Street. Oasis, they're shit northern comedians and 0 points. Come on, Jazzy. Come on, Jazzy. Come on. Love it, my man. Liam, big yourself up, sir. Also, Jason Helms, big up, my man. Swim Master, come on, you Spurs. I'm thinking Ange's going to get our squad playing to his liking sooner rather than later. Look, hopefully today's the day, my man. Big up, Wolfie Mauler. Great to see you. Come on, you Spurs. Maxine Penn, Spurs are the best club. Duncan Thorpe, big up panel, the best pre-match show out there. Romero is back. Yes, he is, my man. Vice captain is back, baby. Big up listing Heinz 3-0 today. I can feel it in my bones. Shawnee Maddox as well. Ange to demolish United more than Wolves. Big up Paddy Harnett. Afternoon, gents. Any of you at the game today, give a look at page 81 of the program, so people follow. Let us know what that could be, my man. Big up Rooty too. He says big up Dave Phillip and the Hotspur hippie. Let's go. Big up Pierre OG, Kev Williams, Luke. Big yourself up, my man. Steady Sharks says, come on, you Spurs. Love the stream already. Big up, my man. Big up Leighton Everin. Happy Clappers are back, brother. Do you know what? I have a sneaky suspicion you're going to be joining the Happy Clap Army this season, my man. Big up, Leighton Everin. Get prepared.
Big prediction.
Gabrielle won. Great to see you. Wayne Bonner, good evening, sir. 519 nil to Spurs. I need what you're on, Wayno. I need what you're on. And hopefully, Wayno, we get down to it this week doing your Spurs story, brother. Big yourself up. And then we also have Dave H. 1960. I promise it's not me, by the way, bigging myself up. That'd be pretty sad. But there's another namesake out there. I don't even think it's the guy from the cheese room. So, maybe I need to know what the outlad's been up to in his past life. He says, big up, Dave, and the game. Let's do this. Big up, Davey H. But, Jack, I want to come back to you with a super chat here from Dark Sun G. And he says, this is probably the first time we faced Man United with a great back four. Van der Ven, Cutie, Romero, Royale. By the way, we'll get on to that. I heard something, man. I'm not sure how true it is. That Emerson Royale could be out today and Powell could be in. Let's wait and see if it happens. Anna Doji at left back. When was the last time we had a back four this level of caliber? Pochettino, Jack?
Probably. I mean, we basically witnessed incompetency since ever since, the days of Pochettino. So it probably was going to be, a pretty decent back. It wouldn't take much, I think, to get us feeling good again about this back four. Getting back to the days of Jan, Toby, Kyle Walker, I mean, even those three alone, I think would, take a lot to get back to that sense of sort of security. But I'll be honest, I think we're feeling like it could be in maybe a year's time or 2 years' time back to that sort of prime, at least of some sort. Van de Ven looks just like kind of beyond Vertonghen almost in every way, with how composed he is on the ball, how quick he is in recovery. I think Jan, when he was a bit younger, was very fast, and he was able to make those sort of recovery runs when need be. And he's just so graceful on the ball and makes such good decisions and just sort of looks so cool, calm, and collected. And Toby, I guess, is not really a Romero type, but I'll be honest, like, Sergio Ramos is one of my favorite players of all time. And I do think Romero is in some way kind of a reincarnation of kind of Sergio Ramos in a capacity. So I do really like this sort of back four. I really like the looks of Udogie. I got a lot of texts from kind of fellow Yanks, Dark Sun G, saying how good Udogie looked and how confident he looked in his first game, especially somebody, again, who everybody sort of wrote off as not being able to handle a back four and not going to, take a lot of time and or is going to take a lot of time, those sort of things. And I don't know, a lot of people were really impressed just by how confident and how assured of himself he was. So in a year's time, 2 years' time, back to the days of Pochettino for sure, Dark Sun G.
And look, I said it when I done the Welcome to Tottenham Van de Ven video. I feel like him and Romero can get back to where Toby and Jan at. First of all, I think they're both as good on the ball, just like Toby and Jan were very, very good on the ball. And I've always said this, it starts with playing out from the back, keeping possession football. And you have to have players that can transfer that ball into the likes of Basuma time and time again. None of what we seen last year where it's like, oh yeah, out to the wing back. And next thing there's a guy in the stands collecting the ball ready to take a throw in. Absolutely, you can't play football, possession-based football that way. And for me, this is the start of it. And I've always argued, the more possession you keep, the less defending you have to do, which means their defensive duties will not be called into action nowhere near as much. And I think they make a perfect partnership. I think you've got Romero, and I've heard Paul say this plenty of times, goes out there, whacks someone out, going, you're not going to have an easy day today. And you've got Van de Ven, who's a bit more like Jan Vertonghen, the steady Eddie, and all his career with his pace, he's been taught. Just hang back, be prepared to cover. So you've got him ready to do that. And for me, I think they're going to make a great partnership. Of course, we only seen 11, 12 minutes of it last week, but today I hope to see a lot more, and they're going to be absolutely crucial today, Dark Sun G. Big yourself up, brother. Really appreciate support, my man. And Al Ben says, going to have a problem with Rashford, the way we play. Now, look, let's get into it. I was going to wait for that for a little bit later on, but Al Ben wants to speed up the process, so big up, Al Ben. And look, we'll go to you on this one, Paul. Look, there were some teething problems last week in that back line. I think we've just got to sort of be honest with it and sort of acknowledge it. And Brentford exploited time and time again long balls in behind the space left by our fullbacks, more so in behind Emerson, because Emerson was asked to come inverted and Udogie was tasked with more staying out there with Mbeumo. So they exploited that time and time again. Can we do the same today, playing that really high back line? I know Ange's going to do it, but can we afford to? Because with United, they've got devastating speed, more than what Brentford does. They will punish you more than what Brentford did. And I fear a little. That's the only fear of Man United I have today. Because even if they sit on the counter, they still have the ability to just pump long balls in behind. You're talking about Rashford, Sancho, Anthony. How do we stop that today? Do you maybe ask Emerson to not do the inverted role and just play a fat black four?
No, I think we do exactly the same as we did against Brentford. And I thought the defending last week was all right. It's a different style of defending than what we're used to last year, where we'd just be sat in our own penalty box waiting for the other team to stuff up. And usually it'd be us that would stuff up. This year we're up in their half. So our main defending comes from when we lose the ball. We've got to leg it back into our own box. And Van de Ven and to be fair, Sanchez were both up to it, I think, last week. Really, Brentford, apart from, it was a deflected goal and a really dodgy, sus penalty. They had one real clear chance, which they didn't put away, which you're going to get in games. The thing that really undid us last week was we didn't have enough up front. And I think it's just going to be a bit more open at Man United's back. And I think we are going to have space up there. And, I thought they looked average against Wolves, man. I think
Wolves took it to them.
yeah, I think if you take it to them like we're going to do, I think you're gonna scare them a little bit. So it was just, you know what, it was so nice watching the game last week. And when the ball did go to our defenders, I wasn't like clenching and crapping myself, and it was just I'm relaxed. This is okay. They can actually play football. It was good.
Absolutely. Big up Derek Hutchison, Paul Brown, Mile High Hotspur, Richard Taylor, all you guys coming in there. Kamikaze sneaking in there. Absolutely love it. Stephen Wilson as well. Daniel Sandoval, great to see you. And then the Owl Lad, great to see you. These are the days we look for, turning over the big dogs. Let's go, my man. Get the cans in the fridge. Get them nice and cool for the game. And also get a sandwich ready. That's important. But let's get going. Let's get after them Manx today. Big up the Owl Lad. Absolutely love it. Yeah, look, it's going to be tough to be able to keep that front three at bay. I reckon United, I don't think they're going to be as poor as they were last week. I wouldn't be surprised to see them drafting Eriksen, take out Mount, play on the counter, and use Eriksen and Fernandes just to play them balls. And we know they're capable of doing it time and time again. So it'll be a huge test. But Philip, I want to take it back just a little bit before we get into more about the lineup. Where are we? Of course, we lock. Where are we? 1 second. Yeah, of course, we locked horns with United in what is the 200 fixture between Tottenham and United in the Premier League, by the way. And today's opponent, Philip, is a real step up in class. And we have to acknowledge that. I know last week against Wolves, they didn't look good, but they are a step up in quality compared to someone like Brentford. Will today be a real test or a true barometer of how good we actually are and where we're at as a team right now, and probably highlight the areas we really need to strengthen come the end of this window?
Yeah, I mean, Ange just said it. I mean, we're going to have good days and we're going to have bad days until his system is completely adopted by all the players. It's not going to happen after one match. It's going to take a few games. I mean, look how long it took him at Celtic. I think he lost his first 3 games at Celtic before going on to doing what he did, you know? So I think what we're going to have to is be patient, right? Patience is going to be the word. Like, we get a win against United today. That's an absolutely fabulous statement to make. That the Ange ball has been adopted by the players. The players are buying into it. And the fans obviously will, because we want to see a Tottenham team playing on the front foot, not the back foot. The Tottenham way is not defending, it's attacking. So I can see, I take Paul's point about the speed of the United forward line. I think that Van der Ven is going to be crucial there, because that guy has got pace to burn. He will match any pace that Rashford has or whatever. It's just a matter of him being in the right position to do it and be able to, to counter their they're going to be the counter-attacking team today, not us. So we have to watch out for that. But as regards, let me see, I'm getting off the point here. If we lose today, I mean, let's face it, it could happen, right? I don't want to see the doom and gloom merchants out, get rid of Ange, he wasn't the right appointment. It will take a little bit of time. So it will take a bit of time, and we're going to have more good days than bad days. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm with you on that. I don't want to hear anyone calling for Ange's head, if today goes wrong. We got to accept we do have to give it time for sure. That cracked me up, Philip. But Paul, Tottenham LSG is responding to what you said about United sort of pace and that. He says, to keep United's wingers quiet, it's all you need to do is send them down the line. None of them know how to cross the ball. Literally one of the lowest sides of crosses last season. I think he makes a great point here, right? They all want to cut
the ball down the middle.
Yeah,
the ball down the middle is going to be the one to watch out for, not the one down the wing. It's the ball down the centre they run onto. That's going to be a more dangerous ball than the winger. I take his point about the lowest crosses. And I've been talking to a friend of mine who's a big Man United fan. I mean, you mentioned the name Anthony. He throws his hands in the air. He says, what does this guy do for a team? So let's hope he has one of them matches today,
100 million cone, most expensive cone in all of England. I thought we had it with Nuno or Fire, but clearly not. Absolutely love it. Big up Davy Shire as well. Great to see you in the building. Hopefully you're pumped today. And then also Kuba says we play a high risk, high reward. Do we want to see the team sit back terrified about what the opposition might do, or take the game to them? Have it, United. Let's have it. Yeah. And look, I think you raise a fair point, Kuba. Do you want to, or Paul, do you want to come in on that? And then
take it to him. I think one of our main strengths is turning out to be how well we're keeping the ball. You know, we're keeping the ball really tidily. We're not, you know, that was another thing about last year, even though, you know, different setup and different tactics, our ball control was absolutely naff last year. We were, you know, balls bouncing off shins, running into dead ends, passes not coming off. You know, in pre-season and against Brentford, it looked really good. So I think that's one of the main things that's going to take United out of the game. They're not going to be able to get the ball off us.
69% possession on the away team last week. You know, that's pretty high.
Yeah.
But you know what, though, lads? That brings me on to the next talking point. In years gone by, right, we usually approach not just United, but these games in general. But for my whole life against United, we've always approached these games with a degree of caution where we sort of give up possession and play on the counter. And I get the football we've seen last week, and I get the majority of it that we've seen over preseason. But can we implement our possession-based game on a big team like today? We start with you, Jacko, and then the boys can come in off the back of that.
I think yes, because ultimately, I think these teams like Man United come up against a lot of teams that do try to sort of sit back against them and hit them on the counter. It's actually quite common, you know, they probably are more used to, you know, coming up against those type of teams than teams that really do try to take it to them and really do try to sort of play their own style and play their own brand and play on the front foot. We saw what Wolves did with Gary O'Neill's team, and he's kind of, I think, in the past with Bournemouth, he kind of did a bit of both. It looked like certain games he sat back, and then certain games, you know, he really took it to the team. But maybe he caught Ten Hag and Man United by surprise. And we're probably not going to catch anybody by surprise because Ange Postecoglou plays pretty much the same way, but he does it with that sort of relentlessness that might end up be overwhelming for Man United. That too, because I don't know, teams have probably just been so used to Spurs being now kind of this counterattacking team that if we do sort of come out of the gates and really take it to them, I bet that, again, could really catch a United by surprise. I do expect this just to be much more open-ended game. I think a team like Brentford was a really good test because they sort of set up, again, I think, well in kind of both ways. Yeah. Brentford, a really tactically smart team, it feels like. And so that was a really good test for us, where I think Man United are going to be a good test for us in terms of overall quality. Like, they have good quality players in that team, and that will be a big challenge. But I do feel like there will be more space in behind for us to work with. This game will be far more stretched. And if the game is stretched a bit more, if we're not kind of just breaking down a full 11 of players, and, you know, especially that Brentford team, they had like every man behind the ball for the majority of the game. And I don't think Man United are going to really try that for the most of the time. I think they are going to take risks. And if they do take risks, hopefully we can kind of punish them, because there's so many occasions during this preseason where we were winning the ball back so high up the pitch. And if we just use that bit of composure, that bit of clinical striker, hopefully with Richarlison, maybe we'll, you know, make this more of an open-ended game, which I'm looking forward to.
And Paul, you know, look, United is going to be a different proposition altogether. How convinced are you, especially with how well you know Ange, that we are going to be able to implement this today? Because, you know, he done it in the Scottish League, but at times in the Champions League, you'd argue maybe it didn't quite work against when he faced bigger teams.
Oh, they were much bigger teams, though. I just see it as a face-off between Ten Hag and Postecoglou. And when I think of it that way, I think there's no contest. I can't. I don't know if Ten Hag's got it for Manchester United yet. I didn't think he was the man when he started. When the Ronaldo thing happened, then I thought, okay, maybe he is. But, you know, they weren't great last year. And they were, you know, I don't think they're just getting their act together. And, yeah, they have got quality players. There's no doubt about it. But I think Ange is putting much more of a siege mentality, team spirit into our boys than Ten Hag. Ten Hag's like a scary headmaster, you know. He's a bit snooty, isn't he? He's just, you know, you're not going to be nice and relaxed around him. Whereas Ange, I mean, he'll give you a bollocking if you do the wrong thing. But I think he's much more about players having fun and expressing themselves. So that's what I want to see today. I want to see smiles on faces and people dropping to their knees at the end of the game when we taste victory.
Honestly, I'll be honest. I was thinking about this earlier on today, right? Spurs' performance dictate my mood, and I know people say it shouldn't. It just does, right?
It does, man.
And I'll be honest, I haven't really been elated in about 4 years since that Champions League final, and I just want it back. I want to be able to win today and have a mood boost for the whole week. It's all I really want. But Paul, people are saying in the comments they can't wait to see Ange on the sideline constantly telling the players to be brave, screaming at them, pass forward, move the ball.
Go that way. Go that way. There's not going to be any of this, standing around at the back waiting for another player to come near you so you can pass it to them. One thing I liked about Van der Ven last year, I heard the word on the street was he's not very good in the air, and he seemed to win everything in the air last week. So I think him and Romero could be, very good pairing indeed. It's I'm excited, man. I hope you get buzzed soon, David, because it's been a long time, hasn't it, man?
It has been a long time, and it hurts. It hurts, and as much as people tell me don't let Tottenham affect your mood, it just does, and I can't help it.
What's the bloody point in watching what's the point in supporting a football team if you're just going to be a bit, don't worry about it, You might as well go all in, cry in your pillow, or leap with joy when we win.
Do you know what it is, right? It's even doing stupid tasks like having to clean up or go and do shopping. I do it moping around because I'm pissed off. But when we win, I'm absolutely buzzing. I'll be sprinkling. I'll have the mop in this hand, brush in this hand, polishing cloth on my forehead, polishing everywhere. You know what I mean? I'll be absolutely all over it, lad.
You'd be like Snow White. All the birds will come in through the window and sing happy songs around you.
I just want to win so badly. A big win will absolutely fill me with confidence. DB says, Mrs. is busy, bottle of wine ready to go. I'm in for the day. Come on, you Spurs. Big up, DB. Philip, I'm going to come back to you in 1 second. But Jack, Dark Sun G says, in my opinion, I think Wisa and Mbeumo are better than Sancho and Anthony. He thinks they're overrated.
Wisa and Mbeumo are they're an effective front two, and I think Mbeumo in particular, I actually am a big fan of. I think he shows that he can play well as a striker. He can play well on the wing. He's just been a bit of one of those kind of Spurs kind of killers, those guys that just always kind of show up against Spurs. Joe Linton, I would say, is kind of one of them, for Newcastle, just always puts on a worldie against us. Marcus Alonso was a bit of the same too when he was at Chelsea, always seemed to have a good game against us. And I think Mbeumo falls in that category. Anthony, I do think, is pretty much £100 million TikTok account, Dark Sun G, and I'm pretty sure Man United hopefully in some way can get the returns just on maybe the media and advertisement, kind of revenue that they can get from that TikTok account. But I'm not sure they're going to get their put back or their money back in terms of the actual goals and assists that he put out. That being said, he did really tear Perisic a new one last time we came up against this team. But I think Udogie is just going to be far better against a guy like Anthony, far better. He's so much stronger, looks to really like to, the physical challenge, the way he was just pretty much, lifting Mbeumo off of the ground, when he was trying to win the ball off of him was spectacular.
Man, looked like a man-child.
And Anthony will absolutely not like that. And I think he'll go down instantly. The referee won't buy it. And we'll probably have a good matchup there. So maybe Sancho is a bit of a threat still. I think he still is a good player, despite maybe his inconsistency. But I agree with you, Dark Sun G. I do agree with you. I think they're a more effective front two. They have better chemistry for sure.
Big up, Dark Sun G. You thought you might have a bit of convincing to do, but it looks like you've convinced Jack, my man. Big yourself up. Philip, Liston Hines, great to see you. He says United looked unfit to me versus Wolves. What's your thoughts?
Well, I didn't see the whole game, so I can't really comment on that. But any team that's not fit now after pre-season, there's something wrong with the training methods, So let's hope we run them ragged today. They do look unfit at the end. But the one thing I want to see from the Spurs team today is living up to our club motto, which maybe has not been done in recent years. To dare is to do. No pussyfooting around, no going backwards. Get at them. Damn the consequences. Play attacking football, and we will get our rewards. And I think like that, I keep looking at that sign every time I go to the ground. I keep seeing that all over the place. And I thought, hang on, up for the last couple of years, no team we've had really has tried to emulate that motto. Now is the time for Ange to get them to do it. And if he does, I think what I love about this season, none of the critics Paul Merson reckons we're going to finish in the bottom half of the table. Nothing would give me greater pleasure than to ram that down his throat in 6 months' time or 9 months' time or whenever, and say, right, Paul Merson, like we always thought, you know absolutely nothing beyond Arsenal.
Do you know what, Philip? I've missed this. Listen, I'll come back to you in 1 second, my man. But I've missed this. Is there anyone else in the build-up to this week that's annoyed you? Any other quotes? I love this. Philip gets annoyed by Sky Sports and journals. I love it.
No, well, I'll tell you what did annoy me a little bit now, and this is on Harry Kane's front. Harry Kane did an interview with Sky there from Germany on Thursday. And not once did he mention the word Tottenham. Not once did he say he missed his players. Not once did he say he had a great time at the club. I thought that was a bit callous and a bit cold. Now, maybe the interviewer set him up not to mention Tottenham. But I just thought, Harry, you were with us for 15 years. Could you not have even said, goodbye, lads? You didn't even get a chance to say goodbye to the team. So I thought that was a little bit callous. Other than that, no, I kind of avoid Sky Sports. I try not to watch them. I don't need aggravation at my age, you know.
Well, you've got TNT Sports now, Philip. So hopefully they get something up and running.
Hopefully. Well, they don't do a watch along on Saturday like they used to last week. Remember, they used to have a very good program on BT last season. They've done away with that apparently. But no doubt they'll find something to annoy me with, you know.
Oh, I've missed that.
I missed another one. Sorry, Dave. And Sam DeCock just reminded me. Gabby Abonglahor. Probably the worst pundit he's even worse than Paul Merson. That's saying something. He reckons we're only a mid-table team at best, you know. But he's always had his nice things anyway. But yeah, I don't know.
What does he want? He criticized us when we have Conte. You know? He criticized us when we have Conte for not playing front foot football, and now we have Ange, and he still says we're going to finish mid-table.
I don't mind him because he winds up Jurgen Klopp something chronic. Gets right in his head. You know? I mean, what do you expect? He's a Villa guy, you know. He's going to downplay most of the big teams, but
that's true. That's true.
Mental giant.
But listen, look. Yeah, I think that was the case. I'd argue maybe last 20 minutes we ran out of steam as well. Look, the start of these seasons, the start of the first 5 games, not everybody's fully fit and up to speed. I think the way a lot of these programs are designed now that, from about 5 games onwards till the end of the season is designed where you're probably supposed to hit your peak fitness, my man. But look, let's wait and see what happens. I hope you're right. I do hope you're right. And Paul Dark Son G says, didn't we play good against Barcelona with better, and Barcelona have better players?
Yeah, and that was our B team, and that's given me a lot of hope for the cups this year. If that's the sort of outfit we're going to put out in the early rounds of the FA Cup and League Cup, I think we can be a bit more confident this year.
For sure. I just got a message. I just got a message off Paddy Harnett. He says page 81 is him. That's why. That's why. That's why. So big up Paddy Harnett. I'll definitely check that and have a read later, my man. Yeah, look, I take your point and I take Dark Son G's point. However, we still lost, and that's what annoys me. I just want to be able to turn that possession into wins, my man. So let's get after it today. But look, I do say there's no better time to play Man United than earlier on in the season because that's where you can catch them cold. Anything beyond that, they usually hit a period of form and just keep going. Now is the time to play them. First home game of the season, just coming off the back of preseason. Hopefully, they're still jet lagged from the tour in America, and we can use that to our advantage. Dark Son G, big yourself up, my man. And Al Ben says, lads, are we seeing a vibrancy in the likes of Royale and Romero? Is that form now playing a more attacking instead of boring and soaking up the pressure? Well, I see all 3 of you nodding your heads. So, look, we'll start with you on this one, Paul, and we'll go to Jack and then on to Philip. We'll let everyone in on this. Big up, Al. Great talk.
Yeah, I mean, it must be a pain in the arse if you're a player, especially if you're a defender and you're spending 90 minutes just repelling in the vain hope that eventually you'll get a ball over the top or something to the front 3. So they're going to be a bit more relaxed. They're going to have a bit more time on their hands to, compose themselves and play with a bit more flair. And I think that's what we're seeing. And, I'm looking forward to seeing a full 90 minutes from Romero, unless he gets sent off, which I forgive him those anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Look,
they're two guys that like to get stuck in. Oh yeah, Dave. Sorry.
just quickly,
Go
Jack,
ahead, Dave.
I just don't want to miss this. Alpesh Patel says, Dave, Jack, and panel on the tube on the way to the ground to watch the
Get in
game with
there.
Alpesh.
Hey,
Big yourself
nice
up,
one,
my man.
man. Have a great day.
Them tubes can be really cozy for a big man like me, my man. So hopefully you get down there nice and safe and enjoy the game. And also a special shout out to Kieran, his brother, his sister, and I think his uncle's going to the game with them as well today. So big yourselves up. The O'Connell family, hopefully you have a great day out and hopefully we get the win for you. And Kieran returns a winner and also a Hennessy's at the game as well today. And also Johnny, who's been on the channel over the last couple of days as well, is at the game. So hopefully all you guys enjoy it. But sorry, Jacko, back to you, my man.
Come on, Alpesh. Have a good day, my friend. Also as well, hopefully get an Emmer goal for you on the day. To the other Al, big up to the Al army. I think Royale and Romero are two guys that just like to get stuck in. But maybe the thing is that when you're getting kind of just stuck in constantly, you're just, defending wave after wave after wave of attack. I mean, that eventually doesn't really, feel very good. And you do want to be on the front foot from time to time. And Emerson Royale does enjoy the occasional no-look pass. And so this Ange Postecoglou team allows him to be, a bit more audacious and allows him to do some of these flicks and tricks because it sort of is part of the whole fun of being able to express yourself in this team. That's what Postecoglou wants these guys to do, to be able to express themselves, be comfortable, and never stop. And I think Royale sort of enjoys those tackles and he enjoys, crunching into his man as well as Romero, but they also like to do things as well in possession, especially Romero. The passes he makes from kind of deep in the back line are really impressive sometimes because he really does zip it into the striker in kind of a way that sort of just bypasses sometimes multiple players and really gets attacks going. So I think Romero probably really enjoys it more, especially that way that the Argentinian team played. The Argentinian team really played with a lot of sort of flair and kind of, on the front foot type of edge. So I think Romero enjoys it, and Emerson loves his no-look passes, so he must enjoy it too.
He does. He absolutely loves that. And Philip, I've seen you nodding your head as well, my man. Anything you want to say on this?
Yeah, I mean, no team wants to play. Be told you're going to be under pressure for 85 minutes of a match or 75 minutes of a match. You want to play with expression. And one thing I noticed, Emerson Royale this season is playing with a smile on his face. That wasn't there last season under Conte. And in fact, there were rumors during the summer or before the summer he wanted to leave. So obviously they'll want those boys want to be watching what's going on up the other end or joining in at the other end, not putting in last-ditch tackles down their own penalty area. So yeah, I mean it's boring and watching us defend. I nearly watched the matches from behind the couch under Conte because you just knew, my hands like that over my eyes half the time. I don't want to see that at all this season. I want to see me jumping up and running towards the TV screen several times a match after we score. Because that's the way I think we're going to be this season. We're going to be fun to watch, that's for sure.
Well, Philip, I was having a conversation with you briefly about that beforehand, right? Where I was saying that, people that went to the games, us at home worldwide who watched the games, we sort of tuned in, know what to expect, but we weren't excited about it. We tuned in just for our love of Tottenham Hotspur, whereas this year, I genuinely think it's switching up to excitement, and that's where it should be getting back to, right?
Yeah, exactly. I go back to the Shakhtar Donetsk friendly. I mean, it was only a friendly game. I know it was Harry Kane's last match and whatever, and it was significant from that point of view. But I thought the pressing and the intensity those guys showed that day. I said, if they play like that in the Premiership, there's very few teams. Teams are going to be absolutely amazed at the energy and the enthusiasm. The block is they're putting the block on the players. Like a Shakhtar player got the ball. Immediately, there was 2 or 3 Spurs players around him, just like that. And if we continue doing that, there's not many teams going to be able to play out a defense against us. And I'm probably as confident about Spurs this season as I was in the 16-17 season. After we came off the season, we came second and went unbeaten at home. That's what we've got to aim at this season: unbeaten at home, and then see where we go from there.
I love that. Paul, you're nodding your head in agreement. And also when I said about, Spurs fans now being excited to watch us compared to the previous years.
Well, there's so many reasons to be excited. Like Philip says, the way our possession is so good, when the other team gets the ball, we get it straight back. Yeah. And, I'm excited for those little things now. It's like, what's Basuma going to do today? Because no one could get bloody near him last week. He's like a player that wherever he is, you can give him the ball. It doesn't matter if he's got 10 men on him; he'll just get past them. And what's Madison? Is Madison going to link up with? If it's Richarlison up front, I want to see a bit more of that happening. There's a lot to be excited about. Really is.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. There definitely is. My buzz is back. My excitement is back. I think many people could tell last season and probably over the summer that I was just drained from it all, pissed off with it all. But look, your boy's back bigger and better than ever before. So get ready for an exciting season. But big up Al Ben, my man.
Tomato sauce is back at White Hart Lane. None of this stringent dietary stuff. I mean, Foster Cogley's an Australian. We have tomato sauce with everything. He's probably got a keg there.
Has he brought back the mayo?
He probably has compulsory Fosters after every meal,
Do you know what? Yeah. I'm surprised how much a bit of sauce can be the difference to some of these guys, right? Because I know people at home might say, "Oh, Dave, this is a ridiculous conversation to have," but I've heard a lot of the England players complain about under Capello. When they all talk about Capello, the first thing they mention is the dietary requirements, no sauce, bland food, stuff like that. And it just alienates them. It makes them not want to be around for some reason. And I have no doubt under Antonio Conte, some of that stuff was coming to the front as well. You got to realize you've got the fitness regime, you've got the mental regime to deal with, and then also, the bland food that comes with it. But surprisingly, it makes a massive difference to these players, which I find strange. But look, hey, it seems to make a massive difference.
I think what makes more difference to players is having fun, and I think our players are having fun this year. That's one of our secret weapons.
Fun and winning, hopefully. That's crucial. Yeah. Steve D says Gabby makes dumb look intelligent.
No, that's my ball. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Absolutely love that, Stevie. He definitely does. He definitely does, my man. Anyway,
he's a paid wind-up merchant. He's just there to wind people up. And I think his back and forth with Simon Jordan, I actually do enjoy, and I do enjoy how he pushes Jurgen's buttons as well. But I must say, the fact that he just criticized Spurs all the time for not wanting to play on the front foot, and now that we are, and he's still criticizing us, just leaks, the Spurs, agenda. Really does. Big up,
really does. Really does. Big up, Steve D. I find it funny. Who's he to be preaching with the career and the life he led? Anyway, James Coffey says, I'm now confident I will be entertained by Spurs. And that's the biggest thing that we've been preaching about, James, my man, is just, of course, we want the entertainment factor. I can accept losing if we've given the game a good go. What I can't accept is losing and just relinquishing to it. Just bowing down to it, not trying to do anything about it. Whereas I think under Ange, that's not going to happen. That fight is first and foremost always going to have to be there. The pride in what you're doing has to be there. Too many times over the last few years, we haven't seen that pride. We've seen politics play out on the football pitch. Players not putting in performances to get managers sacked because they're the next one out the door. Players moaning about training, all the little things in behind the scenes. And you've seen them politics play out on the football pitch, which has become very, very, very frustrating. Whereas now we've got that togetherness that we crave. So let's embrace it while we have it, my man. Big up, James. Really appreciate support and great point, brother. And Project EXT says, just watch the under-21s thrash Newcastle 4-1. Come on. We're back, baby. And at all age groups. Ashley Phillips was very good. A rock in the defense. Next to Dorrington, Jude, Sunsup, Bell, Devine, and Santiago standouts. Just quickly, I'll take this, my man. Look, I watched the first half. I thought they were outstanding. Newcastle didn't really give us any problems whatsoever. Very excited to see Dorrington and Phillips. And boy, did they look like they're going to form a very watertight partnership back there. Also, both brilliant at progressing the ball. Santiago, very, very good game today. However, when I've watched the under-21s, the guy is hit and miss. He'd play well one week, he'd be outstanding. The next game, he sort of goes missing and doesn't do a lot. So he does need to bring that consistency to his game. Sunsup, Bell, and Devine, I thought were brilliant today, especially Alfie Devine. I thought he was absolutely immense in the middle in terms of dominating the possession. So brilliant performance from the under-21s today. And that's 2 wins from 2. Could we be on for a title challenge at under-21s? Who knows? Who knows? But Philip, my man, today's a real day to make a statement, right?
Yeah. Big day. Big day to make a statement. I mean, let's face it, we lose today. United have 6 points. We have 1, right? We win today, we're ahead of them. You couldn't play a better team. Like, we were playing someone like Sheffield United today. Okay, it'd be great to get a win under our belt, but this is a statement. We beat Manchester United. Everyone sort of sits up and starts taking notice of it again, because we'll be expected to beat Sheffield United anyway. So it's a huge game today. I hope Ange drills that into them. That this is it's his first home game. He will want to lay down a marker, and I expect him to do so. I expect us to win today, and I expect us to win maybe more comfortably than we would have done in previous years.
100%. And look, the fact that it's a home game, if we win today, we've got Burnley, Sheffield United, and who's the other team? Bournemouth next, all to come. So if we win today, with them games coming up, I would like to think we win them games as well at the start of football. All of a sudden, Tottenham are looking like a different opposition and proposition altogether. So today, for me, is a real chance to lay down a statement. Because right now, yes, us Spurs fans are excited, but everyone else outside is looking at us as a bit of a joke, a bit of a clown show, and they're waiting for the ups and downs to happen. So if we can win today, it sends out a huge statement to the Premier League, especially if we do it dominating the ball, and really could take this project even further than what the most deluded fan would have thought we could take it. So let's wait and see, but it'll be huge today, especially with them 3 fixtures coming up. Paul, I know you love statements, my man. Think it's going to happen today. Of course, first home game of the season. No better time to do it, right?
Yeah, I think there's every chance we could smash them. Every chance. I think the atmosphere at the ground, it should be buzzing. I'm hoping it's buzzing, and when our players get a hold of that, hopefully they'll give something for the fans to shout even louder about, and we get that feedback loop of positive energy going. And I think we could do it. We could do it. And I'm finding it quite funny that the media and that, they're still questioning a bit Postecoglou and all this. I'm loving it. I'm loving it, because they're just going to be eating humble pie, maybe even in 3 hours' time or 4 hours or whatever the game is.
Oh, lad.
Paul, you were the first man. You were the first man that said Postecoglou for Spurs. You tipped them for the job long before anybody else was even talking about him. Yeah. So you knew what was coming. You knew how good he was.
Absolutely. So, I'm really enjoying seeing how quickly the Spurs fans have warmed to Ange and see that we're going in the right direction. It's happening quicker than I thought it would.
Paul, we had many conversations on that, though. We did expect it to happen quickly, though.
Quicker than it happened at Celtic, for sure, because we've got the Celtic experience to learn from. But I think the fans are on board. The media's not on board yet, but they ain't going to have a chance when we start smashing the likes of Man United and Liverpool and Man City around. I'm not giving up, man. We're on for the treble this year. We're on for the treble. There's only one of 20 teams that can do it, and we're one of them. I like those odds.
Do you know what? Sometimes you just have to manifest stuff for it to come true, Paulie. I absolutely love it, man. Absolutely love it. Now, I've got one more maybe talking point before we head in and talk about certain positions in the team. Jack, I was expecting more subs towards the end of last week's game to try and impact that game. It was a huge criticism aimed at Antonio Conte last season. Do you think we'll see more substitutions under Ange this season than we did under Conte? And who do you think them impact subs that we can make? Because we need to be able to rely on some players off the bench.
Both you and Paul have told me in the past that Ange, one of his big attributes in comparison to Conte was that he is, keen on using substitutes, and he even used them. And you even, I think both of you even told me once that he uses them very early and even will take off a player that maybe was having an all right game. It's just that he wants that sort of new injection of energy. He wants kind of new ideas brought onto the pitch, those sort of kind of things. And that's something that we always were kind of frustrated with Conte, because when Spurs did start to run out of ideas, when Spurs did start to kind of run out of energy, it just needed one kid just to sort of be brought onto the pitch, just to kind of run around a bit. And the game was all of a sudden changed. How many times was Spurs fans just screaming out for Basuma or Papa Matasar to be thrown into midfield to help out Bentancur and help out Højbjerg with kind of some of the hard yards. And it usually did wonders, but we just didn't do it often enough. And I think also, too, maybe those impact subs for us this season could be kind of players like Gio Lo Celso midfield if we needed an extra attacking mind. maybe Papa Matasar too. But I'm also looking forward to kind of guys like Solomon, because it looks like Solomon seems to be pretty effective kind of on both wings. And the one thing he does do the most is just taking on his man every single time. He just sort of puts his head down, kind of, sizes up where he wants to go with it, and is able to take it down the left. He can take it down the right and cut inside on the guy. And he has that sort of threat too to score, because he's not really just sort of creative. I mean, I think we could probably ask him to maybe work a bit more on kind of his creativity, but he could be a huge impact sub, because the moment he comes into the game, he's just sort of looking to score and just sort of looking to make something happen straight away. Even in that Barcelona game or whichever game recently he sort of featured in, he, like, within 3 touches, like, created a goal practically when he came onto the pitch. So I think Solomon is probably going to be the huge impact sub for us this season, and maybe Gio Lo Celso by the looks of things as well. I think Lo Celso will be too.
I think.
Yeah, go
I think last week the wrong paperwork on the Romero thing might have stuffed things up a bit, but also I think Ange might have just been keen on getting as many minutes into some players' legs as possible, because the Premier League is a marathon, not a sprint. So maybe he was just getting people up to match fitness because of our poor pre-season.
I agree. I agree with that. I think that's 100% what he was trying to do last week, because I think he would have made more subs. The fact that everyone got 45 minutes over preseason, which should not have been the case, because preseason is all about fitness. I think that's exactly what he was trying to do, Paul. Spot on. Yo, lad says, we will win today, lad, simply because Ange stepped into the English Premiership, pulled his zipper down and said, I'm here. This is the way I play. Try stop us. Absolutely love it. Big up the outline. Honestly, this man needs to come on here and have a conversation with us one day. I keep asking him, but he won't do it. He won't do it. But look, now we're going to get in and maybe talk about today's lineup. Just before we do, it's the first time I've asked this afternoon, but if you can smash that like button, if you want to pump United, you want to be the one pumping, make sure you smash that like button. Also, if you are new, smash that subscribe button. Push our boys to 15K. Let's make it happen before the season is out. And why not? Feel free to get a super chat in with your talking points discussions. As you've seen, we will bring it up. We will have a good discussion on it. Take our time with it. We ain't in a rush. We ain't going anywhere. But most importantly, we do understand it is tough times out there for absolutely everybody. So most importantly, just keep getting your questions in. I've seen one from Jay Ashraf. He said, where do you think the moon boots disappeared to? Hopefully Hogwarts, the wardrobe of Narnia. One of them would be absolutely ideal, my man. Or maybe getting a new role in the new Frozen 5 or whatever it's at nowadays. That would be absolutely nice, my man. Big yourself up. And then we have Kuva99 says, my only regret this season is that the quad isn't on. I love that the media make us underdogs this season. The dog has a bite to go with the bark. Come on, you Spurs. And look, I'll take the first part. I mean, on the first part, what Kuva means by that, for anyone that doesn't know, is when we're in Europe, Kuva obviously harvests the dreams like me at the start of the season. Why can't we do it all? Unfortunately, over the last few years, we've been given plenty of demonstrations on why it can't happen. But like Kuva alludes to, and we'll go to you on this one. We'll go to you on this one, Paul. The media, they make us underdogs. This season, the dog has a bite with a bark. I love it.
I love it. I love the siege mentality. And you know what? Those teams in Europe are bloody breathing a sigh of relief, or they will be, that we ain't playing them this year. Because I'll tell you what, Bayern Munich and Real Madrid, we're coming for your ass next year, son.
So keep the buckles fairly tight. But big up,
Another thing, Kuva. Just quickly, Kuva, I would say too, is that maybe now that Harry Kane has gone and that whole saga is over, the media don't really have much else to say about Spurs, right? That was their big thing to kind of cling on to sort of kind of grind us down with constantly, just to always kind of ruin our weekends. It would just always be the main topic of discussion. It felt like, especially on Talk Sport, whenever they ran out of ideas. So it's nice to kind of be taken out of that sort of that limelight or that sort of attention. Yeah. And now that they have to just take Spurs in a way kind of more on face value, just kind of more regular in a more regular sort of normal way, I guess now they sort of see us as underdogs, and now we can kind of stay away from sort of the tabloids. We can stay away from all the media attention and kind of work in silence.
And Kuva, you know me, I love nothing better than being the underdog. Coming out of nowhere, surprising everyone, surprising and thriving. That's what I say. Big up, Kuva. Philip, I know you do have to go. I know your daughter is on her way up, so big up her. Hopefully she's a Spurs fan, just like you, Philip. But before we let you go, I want you to maybe have a quick say on this. With that WWE wrestler in goals, dishing out clotheslines, oh Nana, what's my name, aka Rihanna. Should Spurs look to exploit the scrutiny around the decision last week and put balls into the box very early, knowing he's going to be hesitant to come off that line?
Yeah, I think Richarlison's got a big role to play in that particular role. Get in close to that goalkeeper at every opportunity. Corners, free kicks, the whole lot. Get in there and try and place him under a lot of pressure, you know. Onana won't like playing Spurs. He was in goal for Ajax tonight. We beat them down in the Champions League semi-final. So, you know, let's make him even more miserable tonight when he's on his way home, you know. But yeah, I mean, put him under pressure. It's only his second game in the Premiership. And when when he's playing behind the South Stand behind him in the second half, let's really make it deafen him. Keep the chance going, keep the noise going, unsettle him, because I reckon he is a little bit temperamental, and let's play on that and get into his head early, and hopefully he makes a few mistakes.
Absolutely. I mean, our expression said perfectly. The guy turned Monday Night Football into Monday Night Slam Down. I mean, it was absolutely ridiculous.
Ridiculous.
Absolutely a joke. And Philip, we'll throw one more at you, and then we won't keep you away from your daughter any longer, my man. Vicario came in for a lot of scrutiny and concern off the back of his debut, but also with how he sort of settled into life at Tottenham Hotspur in general. Do you agree with those concerns, or do you think it was just a debut, a bit of nerves there, and he's going to come good?
Yeah. I mean, and I think in the first 5 minutes against Brentford, he almost got caught in possession out on the left-hand side of his penalty area. I think it's just down to nerves. I mean, let's face it, this guy would have been scrutinised to the nth degree before we bought him. He can handle this, and he will be okay. I mean, I like his... I mean, last season and for all the seasons before, when Hugo got the ball at his feet, I'd be closing my eyes. I don't do it with Vicario because I know he's a much better distributor of the ball and a decent shot stopper as well, as he showed in the second half there, that game. So, no, I don't have any worries. It'll take him time to bed in. But put it like this, I'd rather have Vicario in our goal than Onana in our goal, to be honest.
Yeah, true. At least Vicario doesn't look as rash. But look, Philip, before we let you go, any final message to Spurs fans? What's your score prediction? And, where can people find you? Just quickly, Meta Football, if I remember correctly, it was David Shire Thursday night, if I remember correct. So big up, Davey, I think it was, my man. But sorry, Philip, go on. Score prediction, final message to Spurs fans. Maybe give us a line to get pumped up with.
I think, well, listen, we've had a chance now in the pre-season and the Brentford game to as a taster of what Ange can do. The season really starts now. Our first home game, right? Crowd on their feet. I'd love to see the crowd standing up for the whole game, to be honest with you, and just getting behind the team, roar them to victory. I think we're going to win 2-1 today. It'll be a tight match. We'll win 2-1, I think. And I think Richarlison is going to get off the mark, and that's a very important goal for him. And I think Madison might also join the score sheet. And what will happen then, we will go forward to our next match, 4 points in the bag, I'm just pumped. I'm just pumped for this, and I think we're going to go unbeaten. Maybe the first 6 or 7 matches. We're going to lose a match somewhere along the line. Let's face it. We're going to crumb a cropper somewhere. Yeah. It's not going to be today. It's going to be some unexpected team. It's going to maybe Sheffield United or something like that. But we're going to get a good start to the season. The fans get behind them. The team adapt. Every game that goes on, we're going to get better. And I said I'm more pumped now than I was for the last 6 or 7 years. So let's go. Hopefully I'm back this evening on Dermot's channel at 5:30 with a watch along if I can get free. Family matters do take precedence in this house, unfortunately. But we'll be at THFC till I die at 5:30 with a watch along, and then tomorrow with I hope it's an inquest rather than a post-mortem on the match.
I hope so. I hope to be sitting there tonight, even though I don't drink, spraying champagne with the party hat, the poppers out. I can't wait. But Philip, absolutely pleasure to have you back on these pre-match shows, my man. You've been missed. Thank you very much for your generosity and your time this afternoon. And go and enjoy some time with your daughter before the big game. Come on, Philip. Let's bloody get out of it, my man.
Indeed. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs. Oh, absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. And so does Philip. He loves it. I
Welcome.
hope when I'm Philip's age that I can sit there with the same passion, the same enthusiasm, and the same love. Hopefully Tottenham haven't driven me away by then. But big up, Philip. Really appreciate it, Tom. And people, you can check him over at THFC Till I Die. So make sure you get over and check that out. Look, any of you want to have your say? Paul, do you want to have your say on Onana? What's my name? Or Vicario? Or
Vicario, man, because I've heard people being a bit worried about him. I like him, actually. I like the cut of his jib, and I like my goalkeepers to be as insane as possible. And I was excited watching him. You know, when he was hearing out of his own area, I mean, I was worried, but he did it, and he stopped some shots. And no, I'm pretty confident in the guy. I'm not nervous at all. With the ball at his feet, he looked like as Philip said, he was 10 times better than Hugo. So, yeah, I think he was a good signing, real good signing.
What I just
Jack,
a quick thing. I want to give you a counter.
I want to give you a counter question on that, and you can tie it into your answer. Look, Lloris, this is big games like this is where his mistakes came home to rule the most, right? Last season, Arsenal, Newcastle, United, Liverpool, there's mistakes left, right, and centre in these big games. Will today show us whether we've really upgraded or not?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I guess it will. And I know goalkeepers need a lot of time, but we need to see some big moments from Vicario to show, what we're getting. He needs to have maybe a moment where, let's say there's a ball in behind for Rashford. We're a bit worried, that he's about to be in a dangerous position, from kind of a threaded through ball. But all of a sudden, Vicario comes crashing in, sweeper keeper style, and clears it up for us. I think we just need moments of assuredness kind of from him. He needs to look assured of himself. He needs to look confident. He needs to get those occasional screams. I think, his fellow defenders, kind of like a Conwood or, kind of like even kind of Lloris used to do, I think, back in the day. But I feel like what we need is just sort of a guy that would be really that sort of commanding type goalkeeper. And then we need some decisions from him that are kind of just look very confident and assured of himself, whether it's in possession, right? Maybe he makes kind of a cheeky pass that sort of catches a player out. Maybe he goes for kind of an audacious block of a cross, but it really does help us out when we're under a bit of pressure from United. So that's what it's about, is even if he makes a mistake, I think it's about him also kind of saving us in some moments, because it felt like Lloris last season, there weren't that many games where you could say he really saved us or anything. There was most times where he really just let us down, and pretty much just in most times, actually, I think cost us the game in a few occasions, especially where it wasn't even as much on the defenders. It was often just kind of Lloris with a few blunders that really ended up, costing us the game. So that can't happen. Just quickly, I would say Vicario is being asked to do a whole lot more than Lloris was. Lloris had the protection of a back five, never had to be asked to, get out of his box or kind of be that sweeper keeper. Even when he was asked to do things in possession, it wasn't like he was asked to do things that audacious. It was just sort of kind of like, just keep possession and pass it to the guy 6 yards next to you. And he wasn't even able to do that. He would pass it out of play, or he would try something a bit too, kind of courageous, and it would never work out. So I just feel like Vicario already, I'm kind of happy with him because he's being asked to do so much more. He has to be that extra defender in case there's that ball in behind. He has to be aggressive on the crosses. He has to be good in possession. He can't just be making sideways passes. It looks like Ange really wants him to make those kind of really nice kind of long deliveries, to catch a team out, but also to kind of, one of the passes he made was like a center midfielder. He just kind of put a little curl and bend on it, sprayed it out wide to, I think it was Emerson, or I think it could have been a Skippy, but I just feel like he's being asked to do so much more than Lloris was last season. Lloris was a bit protected, if I could say it that way. And I think Vicario is not protected. He's actually being asked to do what the modern goalkeeper is kind of being asked to do these days. So I'm excited, and let's hope that he can give us some confidence.
And the old lad says he probably needs to chill a bit. He's like a lunatic chasing the ball around the area. Take some CBD oil and chill. Do you know what? My dad has been concerned about him. Yeah, my dad's been concerned about him all preseason. So it'd be interesting. To see how Vicario gets on. For me, let's just give the time a bit of guy to, the guy a bit of time to settle in. But Jack, I do want to ask you, because I have a few comments I've started there that I want to bring up before we move on to the next part. But I do want to ask you, right? Johnny made a good point the other day, and he was like, look, Shakhtar, near the end of the game, they changed their goalkeeper over so that, their goalkeeper that's given them long service can be clapped off by the fans and applauded. Do you think Tottenham missed an opportunity to do that with Lloris, over the course of this summer or at that Shakhtar game to maybe do the same, to clap him off for his service despite him quitting on the team last year?
Well, I think that's just part of it, though. I think part of the reason maybe he hasn't been given this send-off is I think there was something that went down in that Newcastle game. There must have been something that happened at halftime that really, I think, ruined in some way a lot of Lloris's long service for this football club. I think before, maybe even with the mistakes that he had last season, even with kind of some of the bad attitude moments that I thought he had last season, at the end of the day, he did serve us for a long time, and he was a long-standing player for us, one of the best goalkeepers we've ever had. But the way he walked out clearly on the players, there's something happened between him and the players, and between him and the manager, between him and Skippy, and we've seen it before happen between him and Sonny. But maybe this time it was just he went too far, and maybe the majority of the team as well as the staff felt like Hugo was out of line, and I don't know. I think there's more that meets the eye here. I think there is something that really did go down on that day. And I think it's just sort of left Hugo's sort of kind of, tenure here kind of in a bit of a cloud. And it's, sadly put it in a bit of a, not a great light. And maybe, a few years down the road, he might come back to Spurs or something like that. And then he'll get that proper sort of kind of send off or that proper sort of kind of appreciation. But if I'm going to put on a tinfoil hat, Dave, I really do think something pretty bad must have gone down in that Newcastle dressing room at halftime. That was probably seen as just unacceptable from the majority of the players and maybe also kind of the staff and just general people at Spurs. And so maybe it might take a while for him to kind of get that proper send off.
Yeah. Look, I think it's a fair point. Something bad must have went down. But Paul, do you agree with Jack? Because I know I've heard you sort of speak about before how we treat our past players or people that have, long served this club. We don't really sort of treat them with too much respect. Are you surprised Spurs didn't do that to Hugo and at least let him sort of say goodbye to the fans? Or do you agree with Jack that, look, something terrible must have went down? That hasn't happened.
I think something happened as well. I don't know. I just got mixed feelings about Hugo. And when I'm talking about past players, I'm talking about past players that have won stuff as well. So, he was with us a long time, and really, I think the best thing he can do is make a dignified exit at the moment. He's dragging his heels, or someone's dragging their heels, that he wants first team football where he goes. Well, he's not going to get it at Tottenham, so I don't know. Just his performance in a lot of games last season, just we capitulated because of him and other characters in our back line, and I guess, but give it a few months and maybe then the time would be right to remember him and, say hello again. But I think we're onwards and upwards at the moment. Let's look to the future. Bugger the past. Forget what I said about past players. I talk nonsense, man. I don't know what I'm on about.
For sure. Take a few comments. Leslie Crawford says Kuva quad is still on. Premier League, Carabao Cup, FA Cup, and Tiger Cup.
Tiger Cup, that's in the bag. 1 down, 3 to go.
I'm not gonna lie. I got a sick joy out of winning these preseason cups because I know I ain't gonna win anything else. So when I finish off all the streams, I sit there and I have a little celebration. Got my little party balls out with the jellies and the crisps, and I have a little mini celebration. John,
I like it winds up other fans as well. It's, you only won that. It's like, yeah, I know, but we won something. And the more you're happy about winning nothing, the more upset they get.
I just turn around to them. I'm like, look, you claim to conquer the world, but you don't have the Audi Cup or the Tiger Cup or the Water Till Cup in your locker. So, come back to me when you do. But big up, John. Great to see you, my man. Also, big up, Darius. Great to see you in the building, the disabled team. I have not forgot. Can you email us your number so that I can send you on your birthday message tomorrow, I believe. So big up, disabled team. Great to see you, my man. Also, Rifle, good to see you in the building. Davey Martin, come on, you boys up the Spurs. Great chat. Big up, my man. Adama says 100%, Dave, we should have shown more respect to our long-serving captain. Fair point, my man. And then Mungie32 says, loving the positivity. Come on, you Spurs. Look, my only praise that it's still positive at 9 o'clock this evening, my man, when we're doing the post-match show. That's the big hope around here, brother, but big yourself up. But look, we'll keep on moving. We'll go on for about another half an hour, and then we'll call it time up until the watch along. But look, let's keep this show on the road. Where are we next in my big thoughts and my big plans? Okay. So we spoke about centre backs earlier on, sort of. I want to talk about the right back situation. Now, look, I'm not sure how true it is, but I've heard murmurings that maybe Emerson might not be starting today, and it could be Pedro Porro. I mean, look, we'll start with you on this one, Jacko. What's your thoughts if that is the case? Does it worry you? Oh, you're on mute, Jacko.
Sorry, Dave. Sorry. I'd be worried, Dave.
Back in 1 sec. Sorry, I just got a knock on the door.
All good, all good. I'd be worried if Emerson is hurt for this game. I just feel like Man United are a team that are absolutely going to take advantage of those long balls over the top. I mean, the way that Brentford went about it, it wasn't much of a surprise. I think if you were to point out, I don't know if it's weakness is the right word, but if you were to point out maybe any ways to kind of, let's say, maybe stretch the Tottenham team and try to make them, think about something, it's definitely those kind of long diagonals over the center backs as well as over the right back. But I think Emerson and Udogie are going to get caught out from time to time. They get, so far in field, they tuck so far inside into the midfield that they might have to, take that risk from time to time. And then I think it's sort of up to the center backs to be able to clean up for them and be able to sort of, anticipate those long diagonals over the top. It can't just be the fullback every time that needs to be responsible for that when they're kind of playing in midfield, basically. Emerson is almost like a defensive midfielder when he's in possession. And if we were to lose possession quickly, you could see Man United just immediately trying to spray it in behind for a guy like Rashford. So it's up to Romero and I think Van de Ven as well to kind of be on their toes. And Sanchez, while I think he had a pretty good game, I still feel like he was vulnerable to those balls over the top and those balls in behind. I think he recovered well each time that there was one. He'd seem to do well in recovering for it and eventually winning the tackle. But there were a few times where it just felt like still his first step was just kind of a bit too late. And it felt like he was just sort of reacting to each kind of ball in behind instead of sort of anticipating each ball in behind. And so I wouldn't really put even the goal that Emerson kind of ended up, kind of contributing to, the one that I think Wisa scored, the sort of own goal, I guess, from Van de Ven. Well, I think Emerson did get caught out there and did get caught out for a bit of pace from Wisa. I don't think that's all on Emerson. I think Sanchez did get caught out as well for not anticipating some of those balls in behind. And I just think on that occasion, we just didn't deal with it well enough. And Sanchez even wasn't really marking anyone when that actual initial shot did come in as well. He wasn't marking anybody. So if you ask me, I think it's sort of a relationship between the center backs and kind of the right back with those balls in behind. If it is Pedro Porro, I'm going to be very worried because he doesn't seem to have that sort of awareness of what's behind him or that awareness of what's around him when players are making runs kind of beyond him. And I'd be worried about that. In possession, though, Pedro Porro, very good. And he might actually, if he would pop up with a goal, I wouldn't be surprised if he did because he can actually
scored in the 2-2 last year, didn't he, Jacko?
I mean, if he played a midfield, Dave, I mean, if we were running out of ideas, I would absolutely, give Pedro that license, to just have a crack. Absolutely.
Spot on, Jacko. For me, I think, look, last week, that ball down the right-hand side, Sanchez didn't really know when because we got to understand the tactics, right, before we start berating Emerson for not being there. He's tasked to be inverted and get through the middle. So if that ball gets turned over, he's caught high up the pitch. And I don't care what anyone says. He's not Flash and he's not Usain Bolt, which means, he's not just going to be able to go from there to there just like that. But what I did notice is Ollie Skip was hanging out on the right-hand side a lot. And for me, that was to cover someone like Emerson. And I think he failed to do that. But also, once Sanchez came on for Romero, Sanchez didn't know whether to go or stick. And I think that probably played a part of the problem. I think whereas with Romero, if he gets the instinct to go, that fucker will go, and I think you might see a bit of an improvement down that side today. Let's hope so. But Paul, what's your thoughts on potentially Pedro Porro coming in? And I say potentially because I'm not 100% sure how true it is.
You're also
now you're on mute. Now you're on mute. We're playing musical mute.
I gave you the mute.
The musical mute.
Yeah, technology. Yeah, I think that was a fair comment about Royale being up the pitch out of position. Well, that's what he's supposed to be doing. So, that the way we're playing, we are going to get caught out sometimes. That's just the way it is. I wouldn't mind seeing Porro just because I just want to know once and for all, can he play as a fullback? And I haven't seen that he really can at the moment. But is he going to turn into a bit of a white elephant? This wing back fad we had. Is he going to be like a leftover odor from the whole thing, or a trend? Yeah. I'm hoping he can. But either way, I think our first form of defence is our attack anyway. So it's if you look at the number of chances that teams have had against us, it's not been very many. And okay, they've been converting them, but if you're letting in 2 goals off 2 attacks or 2 goals of 14 attacks, I don't care. It's the 2 attacks at 2 from 2 sounds better to me because we've been limiting them down, and it means we've been up at the other end of the pitch a bit more. So that's what I'm hoping. Whoever plays, I just hope they have a brilliant game.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, Porro, I think, spoke about it during the week where majority of his career he's been asked just to abandon defense and just attack. And he is having to learning to get used to, the defensive requirements of the Ange system. But he did say he wants to make it work. He's willing to learn it. So that's a huge plus. And look, hopefully Pedro Porro's prisoners could go on a rampage today. That'd be absolutely brilliant. Why don't we have a jailbreak? Oh, tonight there's gonna be a jailbreak somewhere in this town. That's what I'm talking about. That's what we need today from Pedro Porro. And Donovan Oosterreicher, he says, oh, I want to dance with a doji. I want to win the league with a doji. Oh, I want to dance with the doji. A doji who loves me. Come on. Love it, Destiny. Absolutely loving it. Loving it, Donovan.
Angel.
Not quite as good as Whitney Houston, but look, we give it the best. We give it our best shot over here, my man. Also, James Madison is looking for a new song. Your boys are on it, trying to come up with one. But people, don't forget, try and get one for James Madison. He's asked. The Spurs fans, we deliver.
Are you going to go in for Eurovision for Ireland next year, Dave? Because it's been a while since they've won.
That's where the plot is coming from, Paul.
That's it. Of course.
Do you know what? They rang me up last year, and I just said, look, I'm pretty busy with Tottenham Hotspur at the minute. There's a lot going on at the club, and the Spurs fan base is more important to me right now. So I need to, focus over here. Come back to me in 4 or 5 years when I've got my rap single out, I've got my pop single out. Then we'll talk about me representing the Eurovision. So we'll wait and see. But big up, Donovan. Hopefully you are absolutely pumped.
Donovan was, and Buema was certainly feeling the heat and feeling the dancing of Udogie. I felt like in that one moment, he was grabbing him by both hips and he was swaying him from left to right. He nearly picked him off the ground, for a full sort of dance routine there. So Buema knows what it's like to dance with Udogie. That's for sure.
Do you know what, Donovan? I'm a bit disappointed. What me and Jack need to do now is we need to take 5 minutes, leave the screen to Paul. We need to go and rehearse and come back that we're in sync and give it a good go, my man. As Kuva said, many people nearly unsubscribed there. But big up, Donovan. Hopefully you're pumped. And big up, Ellie. Going to the game. Hopefully you enjoy yourself, my dear. And let's get after them today. Legend. No better person to have at the game and get that atmosphere going than the one and only Ellie. Check a couple of comments here. Neil G says, how many subs did you lose during that singing? Yeah, probably quite a few, my man. Probably quite a few, brother. But look, I don't care. I'm one of them. Give me a football chant, football song, and I will belt it out no matter where I am. It does not matter. I will do it. I absolutely live for it, my man. And Adrian Parker says, hey, guys, going to put a few past Man United today. Got to watch that diagonal over the top, but a big win for sure. Absolutely spot on, my man. Big yourself up. Now, guys, I do want to sort of briefly move on. Well, not briefly. I want to move on into the midfield. Now, our midfield worked quite well last week, if you want me to be brutally honest. But for me, Ollie Skip, once again, he came in for mixed reviews. I've seen some people and some articles being written saying he was absolutely outstanding. Couldn't believe what I was. I thought they must have been watching the highlights of the Barcelona game again. But for me, I thought he was non-existent, to be honest with you boys. I thought defensively, he didn't add any cover. And going forward, I don't think he added absolutely anything as well. He didn't really do anything to sort of affect the game. And I think he got the selection based off the 2 goals off Barcelona and Ange maybe trying to, feed off that and hopefully Skip will come good. But do you think Ange will make a change in there today?
I hope he does. I feel like Skip, there's this one quote that Ange had where he did say, I am going to catch out players for just following my instructions for instruction's sake. He said, I do have my instructions and my tactics, but they need to sort of understand them to a level that they can then still express themselves and make impacts in the game. You can't just sort of follow direction, because you will eventually get caught out for that. Because I think there are players who just sort of, kind of in a rudimentary way, just sort of follow the instructions to a T, but then don't really end up making much of an actual impact in the game, because just following the instructions and doing what your coach is asking you to do isn't really the end all be all. You have to still have your moments of creativity, your moments of kind of invention yourself. And I think that's what Skippy sort of lacks at times. I think he lacks sort of that invention, or that sort of willingness to try something maybe different, or even just try something in general. Sometimes it feels like he takes a bit of time to get onto the ball, then he just sort of ends up not having much of an idea what to do with it, and he just sort of then just ships it back to where he got it from. And he makes good runs in the box and everything, but it feels like he's not making the runs into the right areas where he actually could get a good chance. I just feel like he's a bit guilty of, following the instructions really well, but not actually making much of an impact aside from that. And I do think a Gio Lo Celso or Papa Matasar might be a bit better in that regard. When you see Papa Matasar on the ball, like, he looks like he has 10 ideas at once the moment that he gets the ball. He looks like he wants to take his man on, looks like he wants to shoot it from 40 yards, looks like he wants to spray a pass all the way to the winger. And I think that's what maybe we need more, is somebody that when they get into these positions, especially against a low block, we need a guy to kind of have more of a inventive kind of brain, or somebody that's more willing to kind of create something in those sort of tight areas. You need to be clever. You need to be smart. And Basuma, Madison, those guys all clearly can do it, but Skippy seemed to be kind of the missing link. It didn't really look like he could kind of gel in that same way as they could.
Paul, are you of the same sort of did you come away with the same observations as Jackal? Because a lot of people in the chat as well are saying, Skip, he just, Sean D is maybe the only one that stuck up for Skip, and he says Skip started slow, had 2 bad touches, he grew into it and was solid, but no attacking intent. I mean, look, is there an argument that Skip should play today? Try and shore up and protect that back line, or do you think you go for a hybrid and Papa Matasar, or do you just go for it and bring in the Celso?
Yeah, Skip always seems to sort of underwhelm me a bit, and he certainly did last week. And I love Papa Matasar, the Matasarosaurus. I think he's always inventive, and the thing I've noticed, like, he likes firing off those long range shots, and he was missing them, but he's getting them on target now. And I reckon if he plays today, he's going to sneak one in. He just does the unexpected, whereas Skip is very, like Jack was saying, by the numbers. There isn't any invention or creativity there, which both Sarr and Lo Celso do have. But I want to see more of Papa Matasar, man. I really do.
I'm with you on that.
He's got no fear.
Yeah.
Absolute confidence in his ability. It's great to see.
I love the kid. Anytime I've seen the guy come in off the bench, he's just got on the ball. He's made things happen. He looks to affect the game. When he played that game out in the San Siro, he looked 10 times the player than Ollie Skip did in terms of passing, defending, wanting to make things happen. And for me, I think he's only waiting out for a chance before he really hits that ground running. Sar Bele, a.k.a. Starboy, I cannot wait to see him get an opportunity. I think he does deserve it. But Sean Mitchell, big up, Mitchie boy. Hopefully you're keeping well, my man. Hopefully you get to enjoy and sit back and relax and watch the game. But he says Skip would be good with a holding 2 in the middle and Madison in front, but think he would be helped out a lot. But Mike Sutenberg, look, 100%. I'll definitely take that point. I think if we were reverting back to a Pochettino system, Skip would be the one Yama, 100%. Yeah. But look, I just don't think he's got it on the ball. I was very disappointed when he came into the team at the back end of last season, if his ability on the ball, especially towards the end of the last season. Defensively, he was non-existent. People were just blowing by him. And then this season, preseason again, I've had my criticisms of him on the ball. I called it earlier on in the preseason. When we're dominating possession like that, Skip becomes a bystander, and you're basically playing with 10 men. You need someone that wants to get on the ball and go and affect it. And look, it's up to Skip to adapt. I've said this before. If he fails to adapt, his career will go very, very similar to someone like Harry Winks. So he has to, and people may say, Dave, you're being mean. No, I'm not being mean. I'm just being brutally honest. I know what he needs to do to be able to stay at this level. And we can't keep getting ourselves into these situations where by 24, 25, which Skip is only 2 years off, by the way, that they're not developing into that player we need. We end up carrying Winks till he was 27, 28 years of age. How the hell did that happen? So, look, you know, I get in midfield, and Sean, me and you know more than most, my man, that it is about partnerships. You have a good partner that you know each other's game. It makes your job so much easier. But Skip has been put in beside a number of players, and he hasn't formed that partnership yet. He's still looking for it. So let's wait and see happen. I'm not writing Ollie Skip off right now, by the way. I'm just trying to highlight what I think he needs to do to stay at this level, because the midfield is only going to improve. We're only going to be bringing in better caliber players in that position as well, which then means even more that he has to be able to adapt his game and push on to that next level. But big up,
Good comment,
Mitchie.
Dave, to bring up. Big up, Sean Mitchell. Good comment to bring up. Nice.
Yeah, big up, my man. And James Madison, let's have a quick talk about him, and then we'll go into the front three, boys. Madison has been the signing that we've been absolutely craving out for since Eriksson left, who will bring that creativity from deeper, who dominated last week's game and came out with 2 assists. Do you think he can be one of the leaders of this revolution, of this rebuild, like some of the greats we've had in the past in that area, like a Modric, like an Eriksson, a Van der Vaart, people who, you know, turned up on the big games. Today are the games we paid that money for Madison. Today are the games is why we got him in here. That's why we talk about Modric in a certain breath. That's why we talk about Eriksson in a certain breath, Van der Vaart, because they stepped up and delivered in these games. Can Madison be this guy? We'll start with you on this one, Paul, and go back to Jacko.
I think he's showing every sign he can be. He certainly seems to be very enthusiastic about playing for Spurs, and I mean, no, that cross he sent in for Romero's header was perfect.
Delicious.
That was absolutely inch perfect. The speed of a rocket. No wonder Romero had to come off after that. I know he had a headbutt prior to that, but that would have done me in, sticking my head on the end of that exocet coming in. So yeah, you can see he's just like him and Basuma. That we're just playing so differently just with those two. And if we get the third one sorted out, the sky's the limit. I think Madison. The thing for is how well is he going to link up with our centre forward? Because I think he's been linking up well with Sonny already, doing some nice like outside of the foot passes up there, but just threading those sneaky ones in. Which he started doing it with Kane, and he did it nearly a couple of times, but didn't quite come off with Richarlison last week. But yeah, these are the matches. You're right, Dave. Where you earn your money. You know, this isn't like away at Luton Town. This is home playing the biggest club in the world. So hopefully he'll rise to it.
Yeah. Sam. Look, I think he will. Big up Faz Radfar, by the way. Hopefully you're going to today's game and hopefully you enjoy it, my man. But Jacko, do you agree with Paul that, you know, he has all the attributes to be able to be that guy?
Yeah. I feel like Madison.
Convinced.
I feel like,
I just wanted to enthusiastic, man. Come on.
Here's the thing. I've been really impressed with Madison, but there's this thing with that Leicester team from last season. Like, there was a lot of guys who went missing. And they all they were good enough to not get relegated. So many players in that team were good enough not to get relegated. And it's sort of just, you needed somebody to just pick them up. We saw actually, even though Richarlison hasn't really done it yet for Spurs, that was part of the reason why we even liked him so much, him coming here. Because we kind of felt in those last 6 games when Everton needed somebody to step up, he did. He grabbed actually, I think, some of the majority of his goals kind of towards the end of that sort of run there. And Madison... I feel like has stepped up on numerous occasions for Leicester and has easily been their best player, I think, in the past. And when they've been the best, it has been because of him. Like their best version of themselves has been when Madison's been ticking. But I just, there's something about that team where I was a little frustrated that I'm not even a Leicester fan at all, but I was just kind of confused and a bit, kind of weirded out how they got relegated because I just felt like they were too good to go down. They did really seem like one of those teams. And Madison, and maybe he's not contributed to it in any way. He probably did the very best he did. He got 10 goals, 10 assists, and has produced really good numbers, before that. But I just want to say, that have that little stink in there from, the fact that a lot of those guys, I just thought, should have stepped up, on certain occasions. They all seem to give up way too quickly, and they kind of threw the manager under the bus, even though Brendan Rodgers, I think, kind of deserved it in the way that he was, going about the place. But still, it just felt like there could have been somebody to be that leader. Then again, I could be totally chatting waffle because, Madison's been named vice captain. He wouldn't be named vice captain if he did have that sort of attitude, right? If he had this, kind of give up, when times are going bad type attitude, if he sort of is more about, kind of the glory or kind of the attention, then he wouldn't be given the vice captain by Ange, because Ange sees through people. He's a guy that clearly understands, what type of character he needs to lean on. And if Madison's a guy that he sees that has that good character, then I'm absolutely, in the mud, or I'm absolutely going to be wrong. But I'm just saying, as to be devil's advocate, or maybe just to bring up a different argument, Dave, that Leicester team, just something about it was weird with how they went down. I thought they were too good to go down.
Yeah, look, fair points. Look, for me, I think the jury's still out whether he's going to be that guy. One thing I will say is over the course of his Premier League career, he does have good return in numbers, but it'll be interesting to see how much he really digs in when the going gets tough. Maybe a game where it's not working out, we are on the back foot. Can he muck in that way? Because a leader has to be able to do that as well as the glamorous parts as well. But look, be interesting to see. I think my hopes are being pinned on Madison today to unlock that door. So let's hopefully he can step up and do it. Jamie Gitt says, who let a dozy out? Who? Absolutely love it. Big up, Jamie Gitt. That's quality, my man. Absolutely love it. Ellie has a question for you, Jacko. Do you feel if Højbjerg doesn't leave that he can win his place in the starting lineup?
I do hope he does. And even someone brought up earlier, I think it was Dunkel Z Torque, said, I'd rather even see Højbjerg playing in that position Skip was, because even Højbjerg, we know, has that occasional, dink pass, or that, passive invention or creativity that was sort of speaking about. I know a lot of people don't rate Højbjerg, but I do think he's a much better passer of the ball than Skippy is. And also, Højbjerg's popped up with goals when he kind of ventures into the box. He seems to either be in the right areas, or he just has a good finish on him. He always hits it really hard and hits it really low. And I think Højbjerg would even have a better chance of scoring than actually Skippy did in that game. So I'd actually, if Højbjerg does end up sticking around, I'd like him as kind of an alternative as the number 6, or I'd like him as kind of a box-to-box sort of kind of midfielder too. That would be pretty helpful. For sure.
There you are, Ellie. I think, look, it depends on whether he makes that move or not. It's a bit touch and go at the minute. I think, Spurs are just waiting for Atletico to put up the money. But if he does stay around, for me, throw him back in there. Throw him back in there, in my opinion. Josh Jones says, I don't know if it's too many coffees, but I'm really buzzing for this game, man. I'm the same. I've been buzzing for this one quietly since yesterday. Behind the surface, I've just been bubbling. I've had the Spurs songs on. I put my jersey soaking in Daz last night to get it clean for today and ready. I just sense all out pure football today, and I cannot wait. I'm absolutely buzzing. But like you, not sure whether it's the Monster energy or not, but let's wait and see, brother. Big yourself up, Jazzy Jones. Now, guys, we are going to go into talking about the front three, the last part of today's show. If you have enjoyed it, please smash that like button as we discuss that front three. And also, if there's any talking points you want that you feel like we've missed, or, if you want to help create more talking points, why not throw it in a super chat, and we'll take it and we'll have a good conversation on it. But most importantly, keep bringing the comments up. And, if you got any questions that you want us to answer, start getting them in the chat now. We'll take a few of them near the end. Obviously, the ones with the membership badges will take priority, but get them in nonetheless. But look, let's get into talking about that front three. And we'll start with you on that one, Paul, as well, my man. Look, we dominated last week's game possession-wise. Fantastic, brilliant, absolutely loved it. However, the lack of creativity was absolutely driving me insane. The lack of creating any sort of clear-cut chances. Does Ange go at the same front three today, or does he make changes?
I think he possibly does. And just the way I viewed last week was Brentford had 11 players in their own penalty area, so that did make the job a lot harder for those front three to link each other up and get the ball in the net. I'm hoping that Man United won't be doing that today, and it's really for that reason I'd like to see the same three in again to see how they survive and work in that sort of atmosphere, because that sort of atmosphere, because if they can't do it there, then something needs to happen. But it's early days. I thought Kulu was a lot better in the second half than he was in the first half. I'm sure Sonny will come good. He's a quality player. Richarlison's the one I'm a bit sketchy about at the moment. Will he start? Because he just doesn't get himself into space. Yeah. So for all Kulu and Son had their faults, where was Richarlison making himself available, doing those darting runs into free area? He was kind of running. The only time Richarlison seems to get space is when he's offside. I'm hoping there's more from him. I mean, he's Brazil's bloody number 9. Surely he's got to be half decent, hasn't he?
Well, even though he didn't make the biggest impact, he still had a chance that we would be talking about it differently. He just buried that one chance that he had, right? Because then we would have said, you know what, he finished the chance that was presented to him, and that's what the striker's got to do. But he missed that chance, and then you question all the other things that
like Jimmy Greaves once said, he missed far more than he got in. So. If he's in the position to have a go and misses, I can kind of forgive that. But it was only one real chance, and I don't think that was just purely down to every other player around him. I think he's just not finding those pockets of free air that centre forwards thrive on.
Yeah. I hear a lot being made about that. He's Brazil's number 9. Look, let's be real. This Brazil team is far off the Brazil teams we all watched growing up. Far from a proper Brazilian football team. If Richarlison was around back with some of the players I grew up watching, he wouldn't be anywhere near that team. But look, Jack, I'm dying to do the pigeon celebration today. I'd love nothing better for him to be able to get the winner. I'd have the missus throwing breadcrumbs and I'll be walking around like that. I absolutely hope it happens today, Jacko. But how long does Postecoglou stick with it? I think he has to go with the same front three. I think he will, to give them time to play with each other, gel and kink out them sort of, make the changes or the adjustments that each individual needs to be made. But there are good arguments that are made, and I make them myself. Do you switch Son and Kulu? Do you play Son through the middle? But look, what's your thoughts overall on this front three? It really wound me up last week to see us dominating a game, but lack penetration. Wound me up, because it's a problem we created ourselves.
As much as I sort of was kind of being harsh on the midfield, you could say about, maybe them not opening things up as much or taking some of those risks. It's maybe more that you could put up that on the front three. Like, it was more the front three that weren't really doing much of anything and weren't really trying anything audacious or trying anything to, open up the defense of Brentford. Kulusevski just kept trying to do the same thing, kept wanting to cut back inside. And then when he did cut back inside, he really didn't have any good passing options and pretty much just would basically pass it backwards or back to where it came from. And felt like Sonny was trying to do different things, but he looks to me always going to be more comfortable like having that right foot, to cut in on to have a shot on goal, because he is a goal scorer. I think Sonny is good creative, like he can create for others, but he's at the end of the day pretty much more that assassin type goal scorer, and most of us have him as the top goal scorer for this season. I think a lot of us did predict that he will be. So I think what ended up happening was, I think Brentford, and kind of the ways that they did a pretty good scouting report on our team and realized that Sonny is going to cut inside a lot, Kulusevski is going to cut inside a lot, force them down the byline. I think Sonny was a bit uncomfortable with it. Kulusevski looked really uncomfortable with it. But I don't really get why, because when they do go down the byline, they do great. Kulusevski has done so many good things when he tries to take it down the right, and he does those kind of fake cuts inside, and then he kind of drops them, and then eventually, kind of cuts back on his left. But sometimes it feels like they're just trying to make it too easy on themselves, or they're not really working hard enough to take it past their man to really make something happen. And that's what I think we just need to see more of. It's just kind of these guys really trying a bit harder, I think, and trying to take it past their defender and make something happen. Sonny, I'm going to give plenty of time to, because we're going to rely on him to try to be the top goal scorer this season. So whether it works for him on the left, the right, through the center, it doesn't really matter for me, because I think he's going to be in this team no matter what, because he is the best finisher in this whole team. But I am a bit worried about Kulusevski. I think Kulusevski just needs to be less predictable, because it felt like Brentford just sort of knew like what those two guys were going to do, and they didn't try much of else. And Ten Hag, as much as he is the, like you said, the snooty headmaster, he's not, that dumb himself. And he's going to also probably, maybe set up a certain way too, so that Spurs, don't find it that easy to cut inside, and there can be a lot of options for them. So yeah, I'd say you give Kulusevski one more game, give Richarlison maybe a couple more, but Sonny, I think you just have to find whatever position works for him, in my opinion.
Yeah, and look, lastly, what I'll add to it is I think it's very important that one of these front players open up their account this weekend, because if not, it's going to be a running story, a massive talking point for the rest of this, for as long as it goes on. And the more noise made around it, the harder and it's going to get, and the more pressure is going to be on these front players to be able to back some goals, especially with Tottenham selling someone like Harry Kane. So I think it's very, very important that they do find that connection today, and that they do find the back of the net, or at least one of them. But look, let's wait and see what happens. But look, that's it for the pre-match build-up. Myself and Jack are off to get the watch-along ready, get the live stats, live lineups, all incorporated for you guys at home. So you don't need to go anywhere. We've got it all on screen for you guys. So make sure you tune in for that. That will be starting at 5 p.m. sharp, pending no problems, because I am a bit technology stupid. So bear with me on that, but we are getting there. But look, we're going to go around the houses. We want everyone's score predictions, and that includes you guys at home. Get in your score predictions, get in your goal scorers, and let's end this off on a bloody high. Then go and get your caffeine, your beer, your sambos, your roasting, whatever you want to do. Get it all into you and be back here at 5. But Paul, my man, let's start with you. Score prediction, and where can people find you, brother?
I reckon it's going to be 5-2, and one of Man United to Tottenham, obviously. And I reckon one of Man United's goals would be a dodgy, VAR-ridden, just the miasma of putrid decay that Stockley Park is. But I think we'll play so well, it'll be taken beyond their hands. You can find me at Hotspur Hippie. That's my channel. And I just want to say good luck to Balmain women's team tomorrow, because my daughter's playing in the grand final for them against the Balmore Eagles. So I'll be pumping up that one tomorrow.
What's her position, Paul? Is she a midfielder, defender?
Yeah, she's a free agent, man. She's the best player, so she just does what she
like
gets the ball. She just roams around. She's great.
Steve Perryman, nice.
Well, best of luck to Paul's daughter tomorrow. Get out there, smash them, take that trophy home, and make the father absolutely even prouder than what he already is. Paul, big up for your time today, my man. Really appreciate your time this afternoon. And not only this afternoon, but all the times you give up to be able to come on here and, not only keep us entertained, but spitballing facts, which I absolutely love. So people, please do get over, check out Paul's channel. The link is in the chat. Let's give the guy a massive push up towards 2K. He's absolutely smashing it at the minute. So big up, Paul. Really appreciate it, my man. Jacko, anything you want to say? What's your score prediction? Anything you want to say to the Spurs fans before we end off, lad?
Yeah, it feels good to be back. Dave did an absolutely incredible job over this week, getting you guys pumped up, as well as just having good conversations. It's good to be alongside everybody. I feel like I'm pretty much happy clapping right now. I'm looking forward to maybe happy clapping during the game, but no matter what happens today, I can tell that Ange is driving this team in the right direction. And I can tell that sort of what he's done first, which I actually thought would take a lot longer, is actually, gelling the fan base back together. It feels like that was going to take a long time and it was going to take a lot of work, but I think he has in some way made huge strides in uniting this fan base. And I'm just looking forward to going into a game like this, Man United, the big deal team, the big kind of Hollywood type team that they always are, with this type of confidence and this type of happy clapping, delusional sort of Spurs, kind of a positive energy, like I always fell in love with, and like I always, kind of associate with Spurs fans. That's the part that I like about being a Spurs fan, is that we're always kind of going into these games with that delusional hopium, and feels like I'm getting it back, Dave. I'm getting the happy clapping back.
But you know what? It's good to have it, though, right? With the style of football we play, you can go into any game and win it. So even if you lose one or get a bad beating, you dust yourself down and you go into the next game expecting, because the way we play, Whereas last year, I think we went into every game sort of knowing what was going to happen or what to expect. And I think that's the difference this time around. Bobby K, member for 18 months. Big up, Bobby. Hopefully you're keeping well, sir. How are the two young lads doing in the ball, by the way? Let me know, my man. Let me know. He says, good morning, Dave, Jack, and Paul and chat. Come on, you Spurs. 3-1. Absolutely love that, Bobby.
That's a good score.
Hopefully we get the result today. I presume you're heading down to the yard to watch the game. Hopefully you and the lads have a great time. Keep which one's the goalkeeper? Is it Jai or Christian? I think it's Jai that's the goalkeeper. Tell him to be on standby just in case Venom Vicario F's up today. But big yourself up, Bobby K, and hopefully you and the boys are keeping well, my man. But look, that's it from us, guys. Like I said, watch along. We'll be ready for 5 p.m. Hopefully you can go and come back, enjoy it with us, and enjoy the game with us. And hopefully it's a good one for us. Look, everyone's against us today. Man United, the referees, the Premier League. But we're the dog at the fight with the biggest bark, with the biggest bite. Let's get after them. Let's take the Manx down, and let's get 3 points in the locker, the first home game of the season. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, Tottenham.
Come on, you Spurs.
We never stop. See you all at 5.
In the big Ange.
Everywhere we go.